And welcome back to Fight Night here on ESPN 580 Orlando. I'm your host, Walt Logan. Joining me right now, we have the honor of welcoming in former UFC middleweight champion Rich Ace Franklin. Rich, thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, Walt, thanks for having me on, bro. I appreciate this.
All right, Rich, you've been out of the octagon for well over a year now. You've been busy, so to speak. Tell me, what have you been up to?
Well, I've been spending a lot of time out on the West Coast. My business partner and I, I'm at that point in my fight career. I have one fight left on my contract. That would end up being my retirement fight. It'll be the last fight that I take. And I'm just at that point where I'm starting to think about the next phase of life. You start looking at different opportunities, and I've been big into health and nutrition. So the natural progression for a lot of fighters is to open a gym or to do something similar to that. And I'm big into nutrition. I've been juicing for many years now on the back end of my career. I believe it's what's really helped me be able to compete at an older age. And so I basically came out to California, opened up a juice bar with my business partner in Beverly Hills, and I've devoted this last year of my life to really kind of developing this concept, opening this up, and moving forward with this business.
And what is the name of that business, Rich?
It's called Zealand. It's a combination actually between my business partner's last name and my last name. His last name is Zevy, my last name is Franklin, so we just took the Z-E and the L-I-N and put them together. And we're located in Beverly Hills on South Beverly Drive, 252 South Beverly Drive, just a couple streets over from Rodeo. So we're in the heart of the shopping district, the wealthy of the wealthy.
All right, Rich Franklin, from fighter to entrepreneur. Juicing, you said you've been doing it. It's been keeping you vital, with your, getting up there in age. You're 39 now. Explain why juicing is important to people, like, not just athletes, but just all around everybody.
Well, I'll tell you what. Listen, my quest, like this whole quest I've been on for good nutrition and a healthy lifestyle and all that kind of stuff started with me being a high school athlete that was about 155 pounds and 6 foot tall. I was a third string high school football player, and my senior year when the season was over, I joined a local gym. I was lifting and had my nose deep in muscle magazines, just learning about nutrition. And nutrition is one of those things that is, the more you read, your knowledge of nutrition and healthy living and all that begins to change, and the way that you carry all that out will evolve. So initially, for me, nutrition was all about eating as much protein as I could, building as much muscle as possible, and that's what I thought made an athlete, and it's just having that muscle mass. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to go through a difficult workout and recover from that, and your body has to be getting the proper nutrients. And all the protein and carbohydrates in the world that you eat won't necessarily help you if you're not supported by the vitamins and minerals, enzymes, and all those kinds of things that you need. And so as I hit my 30s, and the more that I learned about nutrition, and I saw my father's health begin to fade just a little bit. He had had a heart attack at the age of 56 that took his life. And I was just a kid that grew up in this Midwestern family that, we grew up on things like bacon and eggs and gravy and biscuits and all that kind of stuff. And so as I got older, I started really getting an interest in what's going on the inside of your body. Like, how does the body heal itself? And I basically came to the conclusion that you just have to give it the right vitamins and minerals and enzymes and nutrients and all the things that your body needs to basically heal from the inside out. And a lot of that is done through vegetation. Now, I'm not going to discount the importance of protein and amino acids for building muscles and all this kind of stuff, because a lot of that stuff that I indoctrinated myself with early in my nutritional educative process, I guess, is still there. But the important thing is that my body has to be able to recover from workouts, and I have to be able to give it the best nutrients possible. And so one way of doing that is through juicing. I do juice. I do blends as well. Like, I'll blend my vegetables so that I'm maintaining my fiber. But honestly, you don't have to juice. You don't have to blend. It's just that in my store, we make a drink. It's a pure green drink called Green with Envy. And that Green with Envy drink, it's a 17-ounce cold pressed juice that, in order to make that drink, it takes about 2.5 pounds of produce. And so to sit there and actually eat 2.5 pounds of things like parsley and kale and cucumbers and celery and all the stuff that goes in that drink, it's just easier to juice it or to blend it and drink it down. And so there's some amazing tasting recipes and stuff like that. And this is what I've been doing, and it really helps with simplicity, especially for professionals who don't have the time sometimes to stop and grab a lunch. They can grab a juice and know that, assure themselves that they're getting some of the nutrients that they need for the day.
Rich, we've all seen, anybody that's followed your career, we've seen, your workouts, your work ethic. UFC followed you around for a complete day showing how you train. You're not training for a fight now, but have you been keeping yourself pretty much in great physical shape with workouts?
Yeah, I always do. I never let myself fall out of shape. Part of that is the fact that I know I have one more fight left on my contract. Part of that is that I guess I'm a vain person. I like to look the part when my shirt is off, even in the off season. There are people that are comfortable with after a fight, when they're done training, they can let themselves gain 30, 40 pounds, and I'm just not that guy. So fighting at 185 pounds, like my walk around weight is between 205 and 210, and when I moved up to 205, when I was fighting at 205, my walk around weight got only between like 210 and 215. So I'm sitting like right around 210 right now. And unless I really do something extreme with my nutrition, like severely cut my calories or severely increase my calories, that's pretty much my body's set point. Like that's where I'm going to be.
All right, Rich, got to ask you a couple of UFC questions. I know you don't sit down and watch them, but
yeah, I've been open about saying that lately. I've seen some of the articles that people post, like Rich Franklin, not a fan of the UFC or whatever. But it's just to explain to somebody that when you fight and sitting down to watch a fight with your friends, like when you're sitting at the TV and you're kind of moving your head like you're actually in the fight, it's not a really comfortable thing to put yourself through on a weekly basis. So, I tend to avoid the fights, oftentimes catch the highlights and read the headlines the next morning. So what are we talking about here?
Okay, first question I want to ask you, UFC returning back to Cincinnati for the first time since you headlined against Anderson Silva. Do you think you'll be in attendance?
I would assume. I don't know. The UFC hasn't contacted me about that. It's crazy that they actually announced a fight in Cincinnati without even seeing if there was any real interest on my end in fighting on that show. So I wonder who they're actually going to have for the headline there. I'm sure the show's going to do great either way, because there are a ton of fans in the Midwest, especially in the state of Ohio. I know at one point Ohio had the most registered professional mixed martial arts fighters out of any state. But yeah, I would assume that I'll probably be there to watch the show if they want me to be there.
Okay, got to ask you about one of your greatest opponents, Anderson Silva. Did you see his injury?
I saw it. Yeah.
What's
that stuff's hard. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. That's what's difficult for me to watch.
Do you think he'll be back?
Man, I'll tell you what. It's really going to be tough for him to come back, because that break, to go through that leg like that, you're looking at. He's looking at least a year before he can even run again. And, his leg has rod through the bones. And it's his left leg. It's his kicking leg. So if he does come back, I don't know if he'll actually be able to kick with that leg anymore. So if I was a gambling man, I would say that he's probably not coming back. And if he does, he probably won't be the same fighter that he was before.
Rich, last question. You do have one last fight in your contract, your retirement match. Is there anybody that in your mind is in your crosshairs for that fight?
No, I listen. Basically, I listen to my fans on Twitter, like the people that are on my Twitter, the people that are on my Facebook or whatever, talk about who they would like me to fight or something like that. And as long as I just would love to have another, basically a career-ending kind of fight that was, much like my Vanderlei Silva fight, like a good, well-known opponent that would be a gritty fight, exciting for the fans to watch, and all that kind of stuff. And so, it's just somebody that would make sense for me, basically.
All right, he is former UFC middleweight champion Rich Ace Franklin. Rich, once again, it was a pleasure. You taught me a lot about juicing. Thank you.
Awesome. I hope so. I hope I taught not just you, but the listeners as well.
All right, thank you very, very much, Rich.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Walt. Appreciate it.